I want to get a sense from you. We're nearly at the end of 2020. It's been quite a volatile year given the pandemic. Do you think companies are looking for more temporary work as they try to ride out the crisis?
So it has been a very challenging year in 2020, obviously with the lockdowns that were imposed in the spring, which had a precipitous effect on our turnover and on many, many companies. I do think what we've seen since then is a very consistent improvement as companies come back and learn how to manage the situation. And one of the key parts of that has actually been to make labour forces a little more flexible. We've seen that across the board in a number of sectors, and obviously that has benefited staffing organisations like Adecco. So yes, flexibility is key when there's this level of uncertainty.
Coram, good morning. So the work from home phenomena has exploded. Now, is that going to reduce my ability to earn money as a temporary worker? Am I going to have to create better infrastructure to offer a prospective employer? What is the consequence of work from home from the employee side, first of all?
I think it very much depends what kind of employment you're in. Obviously, in the white-collar space, then it is having an effect, although it's probably a little too early to understand just how long-term those effects might be and exactly what the trends might be. But we are seeing a move towards more working from home, the need to be flexible, different locations, etc. On the blue-collar side, it's somewhat different because in most cases, that employment is fixed in a particular place. It requires a particular set of equipment, and therefore actually it's less flexible in terms of being able to work from home. What we've seen is that those types of organisations have actually learned how to cope, and therefore the second set of lockdowns, the second set of restrictions appear to be having less of an effect on the economy than the first set, where really it happened so quickly and firms and companies were not really prepared for what they then had to do. So I think it very much depends what you do and where you do it, what kind of effect this is having on you.
Of course, work from home means you need to be set up quite well digitally, tapping a lot of data. Is that a trend that you've been equipped to go with, Coram, that digital work from home trend?
So within a week or two of the first set of lockdowns, we had over 30,000 people, more than 90% of our workforce, working from home, using laptops, using desktops. We were able to move very quickly. And that was on the back of the investments that we've been making in our IT and digital infrastructure over the last 3 years as part of the last strategic cycle. I think that's a trend that is very much here to stay. We're going to see more flexibility, more remote working, more hybrid situations where people are operating both in offices and out of different locations. I think that's probably one of the biggest effects of the crisis, and you can already see it very much in evidence.
Now, Coram, I know that you're well prepared for a Bloomberg interview. It's been a decade since you did a $1 billion deal. As you set out the strategy for next year, are you ready to do deals? Are there going to be opportunities for you to acquire businesses? And if so, what kind of size and scale would you have your eyes on?
I think it's important. Our new strategy, the strategy that we've unveiled this morning, is built around 3 pillars. It's actually built around digitizing our core workforce solutions business, the Adecco brand. It's built around moving our engineering and R&D consulting business towards smart industries. That's the business we call Modis. And it's about creating a one-stop shop in our talent solutions business for end-to-end solutions for workforce management. Each of those is a subtly different strategy. It's linked at a group level, and it's differentiated by our digital investment. In terms of deals, our capital allocation policy is unchanged. Where there is a business, an acquisition, which is likely to advance our strategy, where we believe we can derive synergies in cost and revenue terms, and where we believe it will be value accretive within 3 years, we will absolutely consider it. But it has to be at the right price and at the right time, and it has to move that strategy that I've just described forwards.
Coram, very, very briefly, sitting in London, the newspapers this morning, the front pages will be about Arcadia going into administration. They have 13,000 people. Very briefly, how many more Arcadias do you think are out there in Europe?
I think it's very hard to predict because, to be honest, we do not really have visibility into the impact of what's happening right now. As we mentioned at the beginning, for Adecco, the restrictions have actually had less of an impact over the last couple of weeks than we were anticipating. So we're trading slightly ahead of expectations, but there isn't a great deal of visibility, and therefore it's very difficult to predict, who is going to win and who's going to lose.